Hi everyone, it's Cameron, and today I am making a cake. So it is the day after Halloween, and my husband and I are going tonight to a Halloween party, even though it's November 1st. Today's Friday, so it's the day that the party makes sense. And I thought I would bring a cake. The recipe is an apple and Calvados cake, but we couldn't get Calvados at our local liquor store. Apparently they were out. So I'm using Applejack. So it's going to be an apple and Applejack cake. And I'll show you the book the recipe comes from. It is Gâteau, The Surprising Simplicity of French Cakes by Alexandra Crapanzano. And this is such a lovely little book. It's full of French cakes, and it's got really cute like watercolor illustrations in it. I haven't made a ton of things from this book yet, but the ones that I have tried have been very good. And the one we're making today is Gâteau Normand aux pommes et au Calvados, or apple and Calvados cake from Normandy. And again, I am going to substitute Applejack just because Calvados is hard to come by, at least at our local liquor store. Alright, so I've got all my ingredients set. The oven is preheating, and I went ahead and lined my pan with coconut oil and a little bit of parchment paper. So I went with coconut oil instead of butter because our host for the party is dairy-free. He doesn't eat dairy. And that was one of the reasons I chose this cake, because it doesn't contain any dairy. And it also just sounds really good and autumnal. You know, it's apples, cinnamon, cloves, walnuts. Calvados is an apple brandy. The Applejack is like an apple whiskey or something. I'm not even sure what Applejack actually is. But yeah, it just sounds really good for the season, as well as being dairy-free. And I also chose it because it's a one-bowl cake. In spite of my table here that's covered in bowls, the actual mixing bowl is just one bowl. So that's nice. It looks very easy. You don't have to get out your mixer or anything like that. So the ingredients that I've got here are 3 large eggs. These have been sitting out for a few minutes, so they're at room temperature. I've got 400 grams of sugar in my big mixing bowl. It seems to me like a lot of sugar, but I'm gonna go with it because I've never made this recipe before, and I don't want to start tweaking a recipe, you know, a cake recipe, without knowing what the original recipe tastes like. Then I've got 1.5 cups of vegetable oil here, again using oil instead of butter. And then in this bowl I have 1/4 cup of Applejack, which would be Calvados if I were doing the recipe as written. And then in this bowl I've got 390 grams of all-purpose flour. And then I've also just went ahead and whisked in my other dry ingredients into the flour. So this bowl also has 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, and a pinch of ground cloves. And then I've got a cup of chopped walnuts. And then this is my apples. So it's 4 Granny Smith apples, peeled and chopped, diced, I should say. The recipe says 3 to 4 baking apples, preferably Granny Smith. I would always rather have more apple in a cake than less, so I just put all 4 of them in. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting everything together. So we are to whisk the eggs and sugar together, either by hand, in a stand mixer, or with electric beaters. So I'm used to cake recipes starting with like cream, butter, and sugar in a mixer. So this is definitely a different cake making method than I'm accustomed to. And I bake actually kind of a lot. I love baking, particularly in the fall. It just feels very cozy to me. Alright, so that's my 3 eggs in. Alright, so got my eggs in my bowl of sugar. Just going to whisk this well. Get a little arm workout in this afternoon. Alright, next we are to add the oil as you would to make mayonnaise in a thin stream as you continue to whisk. Okay, so I'll be honest, I don't make my own mayonnaise. I have made mayonnaise like once in my life, but that was probably 20 years ago, and yeah, I mean, does anyone actually do that? Alright, so some years ago I actually worked as a pastry chef, and this is one trick that I remember to help keep your bowl from moving around as you are whisking if you don't have someone to hold it still for you. So you basically just wrap a damp towel around the bottom of the bowl, and it helps just provide a little more friction to hold the bowl still. So anyway, we are going to pretend like we're making mayonnaise here and slowly trickle this in while whisking. Trying to do this as slowly as I possibly can. This really is an arm workout. My right arm is getting definitely tired. All right, so that's the oil in. Just gonna try and make sure that that is as emulsified as I can get it. That looks pretty good. And then we do the same with the Calvados. I think I'll just put it in here. Or rather, Applejack. So we add that while continuing to whisk. I don't know that it has to be done as slowly, but just pour that in. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. Then next, we add the dry ingredients and whisk to incorporate. I think I'll do that in maybe a couple of batches. I'm definitely not used to whisking in the dry ingredients of a cake. Usually you fold those in, right? So that you don't overwork the cake batter and make too much gluten develop. Maybe I should have used a mixer for this. You might want to use a mixer if you haven't lifted weights in a while. All right, I think that's about as incorporated as I can get it. So in go the walnuts, and in go our apple chunks. This little so you can see better, hopefully. That's pretty good. All right, so now I'm just going to pour this batter into our prepared pan. That's a lot of cake batter. I cannot tell you how good this smells thanks to the spices and the Applejack. Oh my gosh. This Smells amazing without even being in the oven yet. Right. So that is an extremely full cake pan. Maybe I should have gone with 3 apples, but it'll be extra apple-y. Alright, so that is my cake in the oven. It bakes for 85 to 90 minutes, so it is not a quick cake in terms of baking time, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm really excited to try it. It smells amazing. I did taste a little bit of the batter, and it was very good. So yeah, let's wait and see how it turns out. Alright folks, here she is. Fresh out of the oven. Perfectly brown on top. Took 85 minutes to bake. And she smells very good. And hopefully she's a hit at the party.